Everybody say, say, how can I express my gratitude for all the many things you've done for me? Words are not enough, to say thank you. So Lord, you are my everything. You're my everything. How can I express my gratitude? How can I express my gratitude for all the many things, Father, you done for me, yeah. Words are not enough to say thank you. So Lord, you are, you're my everything. See, I call you Zion. Lord, my provider. I call you Eunice. You are my battle. I call you Rapha. Hey. You are my healer. Say, Lord, you are. You're my everything. I call you Jireh. Lord, my provider. I call you Eunice. You are my battle. I call you Rapha. You are my healer. Say, Lord, you are. You're my everything. Oh, you're my thing.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on the location in which you are. You are welcome to another edition of the Community and the Law. I'm so excited to host this program today as we are going to talk about educations, things on issues on mitigation, family law, litigations, and even Ghanaian law. I believe you are faring well. Very soon, I'll invite my resource person to come over, and then the program that we have for you today is going to be really very educational, and I believe you are going to stick and stay with us. My name is Manyeti. I trust you will stick and stay with us as we delve into this legal education. I'll be right back. Just stay with us.
This is our world. Here we are in our community. There are the laws. There are the regulations. We have BWF Solicitors. BWF Solicitors, experts in all aspects of the law, family law, civil litigation, all immigration and nationality issues, representation in court, marriage and divorce. We pride ourselves to give you excellent legal services and follow through till we get you the right result and decisions. That is our mutual satisfaction. We have a team of excellent qualified solicitors and support team to help you every step of the way. Our senior partner with over 30 years of unbroken service to the community is a member of the Family Law Panel and has advised several lawyers and institutions in many legal matters. He is qualified to practice both in the UK and in Ghana. Come to us. Speak to us. Let us represent you. We are your trusted community partners when it comes to the law. Locate us on the 4th floor of the Anna House, 214 to 218 High Road at Seven Sisters in North London, N15 4NP. Nearest train station, Victoria Line to Seven Sisters Station, exit number 2. We are open for all consultations from Monday to Friday, 9:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. Weekends by appointment only. Call us now on 0208 493 7340 or 077 127 61884. BWF Solicitors, your trusted legal partner.
Official poll. Question number 1. Law firm Bay and the one Anna House on top of the Seven Sisters Tube Station, exit number 2. No? BWF Solicitors. Correct. It is that time of the year again. BWF Solicitors, our trusted community law firm at the Christmas quiz competition. No, Ababiomo. We have gone through 2022 together. We have celebrated 30 years of our senior partners on broking service to the community. And do so, someone so will be winning the prizes from the annual quiz competition. No, listen, every 1st December, Ecosi 23rd December 2022, following on all our social media platforms, on BW Radio, BWTV, any rainbow radio show, answer very simple and interesting questions. And you will stand a chance of winning a massive prize. First prize, 2 weeks stay in Ghana, flight and accommodation covered. Second prize, £500 cash. Third prize, £200 cash, plus many other consolation prizes. Afi Chapeau. BWF Solicitors. For our legal matters, Nina, but Daniel, you better handle no pepe at the amount. You 214 to 218. Tottenham High Road, no so. London N15, 4NP, 4th floor of the Anna House. Freying, it was 0208 493 7340 or emergency number 077 127 61884. With over 30 years of service to the community, we are your trusted community lawyers. Yamawa Fisher Poe. Merry Christmas.
Don't be surprised. It's a very special Saturday afternoon. See me as usual. I believe you were thinking you are going to see our dear brother Oriku Frimpong. Don't worry. Today I'm standing in for him and I'm going to be your host for today. We have our resource person very soon. I'll introduce him. But before I do that, let me quickly say this. There are a few things that we need to do when it comes to the community and the law. Don't keep it to yourself. As soon as you come on, as soon as you log in, as soon as you see the notification, make sure you can share it with someone, your loved ones, friends, family. Let them also come and witness what we are doing over here. The education that you receive today will go a long way to help somebody else, even if not you today. So let's look at our nugget for today before I introduce my resource person. We know this week we are still on our Christmas quiz. So because of that, the usual Saturday quiz that we've been bringing every Saturday may not be able to come on, but then we'll still introduce the nugget for you. Keep them as just the beginning of the next year, we'll be having this continuation of the quiz. So first of all, call, let me read what we have on board. You are watching us on Facebook, you are watching us on YouTube, you are watching us on all the other platforms, including BW Radio and Abawa Radio as well. And the nugget says children adopted overseas by British citizens may have an automatic claim to British citizenship under Section 15 British Nationality Act 1981, depending on whether the child's adoption is considered a Hague Convention adoption. When they talk about articles like this, I believe you and I may not be able to understand it properly. But then we have our resource person that we are going to talk about this briefly before we bring in our main topic for the day. So let me welcome our lawyer, Charles Asma, on board. Lawyer Charles Asma, I give you the audience to have a special greetings to them and then we can continue.
Good afternoon to you, our cherished viewers and listeners. Once again, we come to you with the Community and the Law program. Today, we are going to have a very interesting discussion. But let me take the opportunity to say good afternoon to you, wherever you are watching us or listening to us from. Stay tuned.
Okay, thank you very much, Lawyer Asma. Lawyer Charles Asma is our resource person for today, and we are going to discuss a whole lot of things. But before then, I want us to have a look at the nuggets that we have for today, which says Children adopted overseas by British citizens may have an automatic claim to British citizenship under the section 15, oh, sorry, section 5, section 5 British Nationality Act 1981, depending
Section
on
1 5.
section 1 5. Audience, please, I beg your pardon. I think my eyes are not really on the letters written over there. So, section 1 5 British Nationality Act 1981, depending on whether the child's adoption is considered a Hague Convention adoption. Okay, so Lawyer Charles, let's see. I know there are a few things that is stating on the screen as we can see. Say additional requirement which needs to be met for a child adopted overseas under a convention adoption includes that on the date of the adoptions are there is one, at least one of the adopted parents was a British citizen at the time the adoption under was made. And two, the adoption parents was habitually resident in the UK at the time of the final adoption order. So, Lawyer Asma, when we have a statement like this, how do we get the understanding of what they are trying to say? Can you explain that for us, please?
Right. Thank you very much. Now, and listeners and viewers, our nugget is quite relevant because a
Mm,
lot of people would want to bring their children to the UK.
mm,
However, those children may not be their biological children, especially when a child is adopted. And the question is, what are the grounds for bringing an adopted child to the UK?
mhm,
The nugget is quite clear, and it is from Section 1, Subsection 5 of the British Nationality Act 1981 that allows children to become British citizens depending on their parentage. We're
mhm,
looking at a child that is adopted,
mhm,
i.e., from wherever country, and we are talking
mhm,
about the Hague Convention or adoption under convention principles. And here we're looking at somebody who has the right or eligibility to adopt and whether the child can move to join that adopted parent. There are two limbs to this test. The first limb is that the adoptive parent, one of them, ought to be a British citizen at the time the adoption order was made. So the time of the adoption order. So once an order is made for the adoption to take place, that means it has to go through the court process. And the second limb is that the adopting parent, and here it's one of them, was habitually resident in the UK at the time of the final adoption order. So you can see that the first part is the order for the adoption to progress, and the
mhm,
second part is the final order that confirms the adoption. Either way, the parent ought to be a British citizen.
mhm.
One of them ought to be a British citizen to be able to bring the child to live with in the UK. And if there are
Okay.
two parents, we're also looking at one being habitually resident in the UK at the time of final adoption. What it means is that if you are adopting a child, you have to make
Mhm,
sure that you follow through the due process. And the adoption ought to be confirmed by court. And
mhm,
once all the paperwork are intact and certificate of adoption is issued, then you qualify to be adopted parent. Then you can
mhm.
rely under Section 1(5) of the British Nationality Act to bring the child to live with you in the UK.
Okay, so La Asma, the way you've explained it, I do understand. But suppose if I'm not a British citizen, but I have my indefinite, I've lived in the UK for probably over 30, 40 years. I'm really established, but just I'm not a British citizen. I have my company. You can see maybe from my profile, I'm somebody who has really, really established, who has the capacity, able to be able to look after children. And then I've seen someone and I want to adopt. Must I still, based on my status? Must I still be a British citizen before I can embark on this adoption case?
So there are people, I mean, the adoption is separate from your right to bring the child.
Okay.
You are a parent, you want to go through the adoption process to adopt a child. And once you've adopted a child, you want the child to migrate to live with you in the UK. So the
Okay.
question here is, what right do you have in the UK for the child to be able to join you? And you can
Right.
see from the first limb and the second limb that the child, at least one of the parent ought to be a British citizen. So it could be either of the parents. And
Mm.
there might be parent A, parent B, and both of them want to adopt the child from abroad. However, one of them is not a British citizen. So one is and the other is not. And if you go to the second part, it says that um, by the time of the final order, one of the
Mm.
parent is habitually resident. So habitual
Yes.
residence for those who have acquired indefinite leave to remain, for example, and they live in the UK, and they see the UK as their main home, so to speak.
Mhm.
So the first thing we want to look at is going through the adoption process to adopt the child. And the
Okay.
second part is whether you can bring the child to the UK under the relevant provisions to live with you.
Right. Oh, okay. So in that case, even if I'm a single parent, but I'm a British citizen and I have what it takes, I do qualify what it takes, can I still go and adopt a child as a just a single parent?
So the adoption process is opportunity for children who do not have parents or who are in need of parental love to be given that opportunity. So if you identify a child, you go through the process to adopt the child so that you can be more or less the certified parent of that child. The second part is being a parent with parental responsibility by the operation of law through adoption. Can you bring the child to live with you where you live? And that is
Mm.
where the immigration rules set in.
Okay. Oh, okay. In that case, I understand. Right. So, what will be the process? I know this is not our main topic, though, but what will be the process? Suppose I have what it takes now. What will be the shortest process that I must go through before I can adopt a child? Then.
So the process, I will advise that you have to see a lawyer to support with this process because much as it involves paperwork and you can make application yourself, it also entails technicalities. You start from, if you are in the UK, from the UK, and it goes through to the other country, let's say Ghana, for it to be continued. So it's a two-tier process, and you cannot just jump into it, because you have to follow due process because you are moving a child from one country to another. That is the aim. Actually, if you are living in the UK, your aim is once you adopt the child, you can live with the child in the UK. So the adoption process is very, very critical. And if you get it wrong, it will affect the entire process or the outcome you are seeking.
Right, Liasma. As the moment you just said, it takes time and it's very critical. This question just came aboard. You see, suppose let's take it this way. The child in question that I'm going to adopt. Let me look at that child as well. Suppose it's a family, or when I say a family, I mean we understand a family, and I want to adopt. Or it could also be not a family, and probably I've gone to, let's say I've been to Ghana and I've been to one of these homeless units for children or infant, what do you call them, a place like SOS where they take care of children and stuff, children without parents, orphans, let me put it that way. um Within the two areas, being the child being a family and the child being an orphan, if I want to adopt, which one will be the easiest way for me to go? Because I'm thinking probably if it's a family, there may be a question like, where are the parents of that particular child? Or if it's an orphan, then of course we all know orphanage. most children over there don't really have parents. So if I am the one going through to do the adoption, where do you think would be the easiest way for me to go?
Honestly, there's no hard and fast rule
Hmm.
on this. You've identified a child, be it a child within the family circle or a child from an orphanage.
Hmm.
The aim is that the child will be given opportunity to live with a family or to live in a home and will have somebody he or she can call parent. So um, you cannot really tell that adopting from the family within the family is easier than adopting from an orphanage. The processes are not different because you are adopting so that you become a parent of that child. And it doesn't really matter whether the child is from your own family or from elsewhere. You still have to follow the due process.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you very much, viewers and listeners. I believe you've got the in-depth explanation of the process to go through if you want to adopt. It's not an easy task though, but it's doable. Once it's doable, then I believe you can do it. But before you can do it, make sure you consult your lawyers or you get a proper lawyer like BWF Solicitors. They can do everything possible for you to being able to adopt a child. So it's an opportunity and it's out there. I know a lot of parents or probably people really want to get children on their own, and unfortunately, one way or the other, they are not able. Nothing is lost. You can still go ahead and adopt a child from somewhere to become your own. So let's take this opportunity, let's take this advantage and then work on that. So today, having said that, I'm going to introduce our topic for today. But before I do so, let me just quickly play one advert as I'll be back soon. My producer, just give me one advert.
This is our world. Here we are in our community. There are the laws. There are the regulations. We have BWF Solicitors. BWF Solicitors, experts in all aspects of the law, family law, civil litigation, all immigration and nationality issues, representation in court, marriage and divorce. We pride ourselves to give you excellent legal services and follow through till we get you the right result and decisions. That is our mutual satisfaction. We have a team of excellent qualified solicitors and support team to help you every step of the way. Our senior partner with over 30 years of unbroken service to the community is a member of the Family Law Panel and has advised several lawyers and institutions in many legal matters. He is qualified to practice both in the UK and in Ghana. Come to us. Speak to us. Let us represent you. We are your trusted community partners when it comes to the law. Locate us on the 4th floor of the Anna House, 214 to 218 High Road at Seven Sisters in North London, N15 4NP. Nearest train station, Victoria Line to Seven Sisters Station, exit number 2. We are open for all consultations from Monday to Friday, 9:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. Weekends by appointment only. Call us now on 0208 493 7340 or 077 127 61884. BWF Solicitors, your trusted legal partner.
Welcome back. This is the community and the law. Okay, so this is what is going to happen for today. We have a topic that we are going to discuss, and as usual, after the topic or after the education, we are going to bring in our quiz. We open the telephone lines, and the quiz that we have for the drawers on 23rd, that's the winners having a 2 weeks holiday to Ghana, very five-star hotel, luxury hotel, and then the second prize that we have £500, and then the third prize £200. After that, we have a lot of consolidated prizes that we can also have. So don't worry. All you need to do is come in, phone in. If you have a question based on the topic we've discussed today, you are welcome to ask. If your question is not based on the topic that we have today, you are still welcome. And then after that, if you want to opt to answer few questions under 1 minute or participate in our quiz, is entirely up to you. But I will urge you to participate because the prizes are just wow. So welcome back. Now let's move on. Our main topic for today is a very big question that I know quite some time now. A lot of people may have been going through these things, but sometimes when it comes to work related issues like being absent from work and then the purpose of your absence, whether you get paid for that or not, we have a few like being sick of work, or maybe on maternity, or maybe there are few other stuff. Even parents, sometimes you need just a day or two to take care of your children somewhere, or there are few things, few once we are human, few things that goes on in our life cycle that one way or the other to take you off work. And when it comes to getting your salary for these absence days, it becomes an issue. Then we have the one major one, that this is something that the main country or the jury services really invite you to attend, maybe court services or anything. And then when you report this to the work, sometimes you get paid for it, sometimes you don't get paid for it. So today we have a topic like this. It's my employer right to deduct money from my wages for attending jury services. What can I do about it? We all know what jury services is, but if we don't, I have my lawyer here to explain to us what jury services is, and why is it that when I attend a jury service, my employer can say, I am not going to pay you for the day absence. Lawyer Asma, please, can you give us this? If I ask this question, is my employer right to deduct money from my wages for attending jury service?
Thank you very much. And once again, good afternoon to you, viewers and listeners. The topic for discussion this afternoon is relevant because everybody is required by law under the Jurors Act 1974 to be invited to attend jury service. The question is, what is jury service? It is a service to the state by individuals or citizens within that country. In the UK, the law requires that individuals are invited to be part of criminal proceedings so that they serve as the judges of law, judges of fact. Then we have the judge who will look at the law aspect. So when it comes to criminal proceedings, you know that once the matter goes beyond magistrate court, say it goes to the crown court, then the matter ought to be before the jury. Juries are individuals like yourself and I or anybody else who has no professional background in law or who has no idea of whatever is going on, but has common sense to understand the matter before the court and we hear the sides of the individuals involved, the defense and the accused, so that they will make a decision whether, beyond reasonable doubt, the accused is guilty as charged or not. So the juries are very important people at that point. So the question is, who gets selected? You'll be
Okay,
invited.
last ma, hold on. So you've just explained what jury service. So it's a kind of service, or let's say a short-term employment that you'll be taken to the jury, you'll be taken to the court to determine somebody's whether the person is guilty or not. I mean, is this can this establish my understanding?
Yes. So you
Okay.
more or less decide the case
It's
as
done.
a
It's
layperson.
done in the court.
It is done in the court,
In the
criminal
court.
court.
Okay. Okay. So how do I get selected then?
So the selection
Mhm.
is by way of invitation. And I
Okay.
want to believe that it's a sampling approach
Mhm.
because you cannot say that next year I will be invited or when you will be invited, but
Mhm.
it's like a lot. Once you are invited, you are invited and you have to
Okay.
respond. So the court will invite you to attend that service or to discharge that duty to the state.
Right. So, in that case, is there any qualification? Because as far as I know, maybe I may be a British citizen, I may not be a British citizen, I may have even a criminal record, I may not have a criminal record, I may definitely have something my background. So, is there any qualification in this selection process to become a jury, attend to a jury service?
So to speak, I don't think as individuals we even have to worry whether we are going to be selected or not because it's not a benefit to you per se, where you say that
Okay.
I'm not getting selected, so I'm losing out. Not at all. It's actually a service and therefore you give to the state. But the point we are making is that you ought to be a British citizen or a citizen of the state,
Okay. Mm.
and per your NI or code, you get
Mm-hmm.
selected by the operation of the system itself. But
Oh,
if definitely you have some, let's say at the time you are invited, you are in prison, then obviously you cannot attend. And those are the few other things that may
sorry.
prevent. But for me, if you are told that you don't have to attend forever, it's even better, isn't it? But we are looking
Mhm.
at when you are invited. The moment you are
Okay.
invited means you've qualified to be invited to the service. Then we look at what happens to me if I'm working.
Right. Okay, then that's beautiful. When they invite you and you're in the prison, what can you do? Obviously, nothing. So we are looking at you being absent from work just to attend to jury service and what your employer says about your absence, whether they will pay or not. So, lawyers, ma'am, are they right to say, I am not going to pay you because you've been off to a jury service? And I don't know if during your jury service, if they are taking you maybe for 2 weeks, because sometimes the cases may vary. It may not be just for 2 days or 3 days. Sometimes even a whole month, and you'll be somewhere. I believe you'll be in some hotel. You are not allowed either to go home. You just be gathered one place. All you do is just concentrating on the case. If I stand to be corrected if that's not the real process. But then, so if you are off a whole month, can your employer say yes? Where you went, they should have paid you. I'm not going to pay you. I'll deduct money from your salary. Are they right to say that, lawyer Asma?
Thank you very much. So we are looking at the Employment Rights Act 1996
Mhm.
and Part 5 of the law says that the employees or workers are protected from suffering detriment,
Okay.
protection from suffering detriment. Therefore, if you are invited to a jury service
Mm.
under Section 43M of the law, then the point is that the state has requested you to serve it at that particular moment or for that relevant period. It can
Okay.
take 2 weeks, it can take 1 week, it can take whenever, depending on how long the case lasts. And
Mhm.
therefore, you cannot say that it's going to start from this point and end soon or later. But I mean, for you, you are serving until the case is decided, you have to continue to attend.
Mm.
Now, the point is this that once you attend the service, you are
Mhm.
going to be automatically absent from work.
From work, yes.
And if you're absent from work, will your employer say that you've been away and therefore you will not be paid?
Mm,
then the point we are making is that no, the employer cannot say that you didn't work during this period and therefore go to wherever you went to work. This is not your personal service, it's a service to the state. And therefore, you are invoking Section 43M of the Law, Employment Right Act, to state that the employer cannot unduly punish you for attending the jury service. We are also looking at the aspect of the expense. So we have
mhm,
your main salary or wage for the period that the employer ought to pay. You also
mhm,
have other expenses that you might have incurred during the service.
mhm,
Example, food, travel, and these are the main ones, food and travel. For food
mhm,
and travel, the service, the jury service um, system will ensure that you are reimbursed for such expenses, but your wage is protected because the employer cannot say that you've been away for, say, 1 week or 2 weeks, and therefore it is deducted from your salary or wage.
mm. Okay, so Lasma, the way you've explained it, well, I get it. Now, the big answer is no. My employer cannot say that. So the employer needs to, pay me or give me back my wages. What about if probably I'm a self-employed and I contribute to my NI, I contribute to my tax. So the system has just picked me to become a jury, to attend to a jury service. And for the period of, let's take it a month, being under these services, how do I get my pay then?
Your pay from the employer?
No, I'm talking about me being a self-employed. So once I'm being contributing my NI, my tax, everything is in the system because you made us understood that the system picks you. The system, if you pay your NI, you pay your tax, is the system that picks you to attend to a jury service. Is that not the establishment you made us aware?
Right. So the conversation
Mm-hmm,
under the Employment Rights Act looks
mm-hmm.
at employees and workers.
Right. Okay.
Employees
Okay.
and workers.
So
If
that
you are
that
self,
mhm. Does
if you
that
are
mean self-employers cannot? I mean, when you are self-employed, you cannot be selected to attend to a jury
no,
service.
no,
Is
no.
that
Everybody gets selected because the selection doesn't look at what you do. There
right?
are people who are even unemployed, but they get selected. So
Right.
if you are unemployed, who will be paying your salary for those period that you've been serving the service or you've been carrying
Yeah.
out your jury service? You are unemployed anyway, and therefore you don't. No employer owes a duty towards you by way of payment. The same way, if
Exactly.
you are self-employed, you are self-employed, and therefore you owe a duty to yourself to pay yourself. So if
Mhm.
for let's say a week or two, your work you are not able to open the shop or do what you ought to do, yes, there
Mm.
is economic loss to you for that period. But we are talking about employees and workers. So if you are
Okay.
self-employed, you are going to claim expense from the service in terms of food and transportation.
Okay.
Now, you may say that I've locked the or closed the shop for that period and therefore um, no sales.
Yes.
But the question is that you owe a duty to the state,
Mm-hmm.
and your duty to the state and the duty to yourself should be such that if you owe a duty to the state, you carry out that duty regardless. So potentially,
Mm-hmm.
you may, those are the nitty gritties. The law, as we have specified under Section 43 and
Mm.
Section 13 of the Employment Right Act, unlawful deduction from wages.
Okay.
If the so if you are self-employed, there will be no unlawful deduction from wages. The
Okay.
same way, if you're unemployed, there will be no unlawful deduction from wages, and therefore, Section 13 wouldn't have been breached by the employer.
Right.
But Section
So
43 is your duty. Section
my
43M is your duty to attend jury service. And it doesn't look at whether you are
Mhm.
employed or self employed. If you are employed, the duty goes to the employer. If you are self employed, the duty comes to yourself.
Okay, so let's take it this way. Suppose my employer has done deducted money from my wages. I mean, because I attended a jury service. Let's take it. Probably the employer actually didn't go according to the law, or maybe breaching the law. So if I happen to fall under this victim, what can I do? Realizing that my employer has deducted money from my wages because I've attended a jury service, what can I do?
So you put the employer on notice. You
Okay.
alert the employer that I have received my salary for the period, and I
Mm-hmm.
realize that X amount has been taken or has been deducted, or you see on your pay slip
Mm-hmm.
your basic earnings, your overtime earnings, and also on the right hand side, you see your deductions, or
Mm.
below that, you see your deductions. So if the deductions are um, uncommon, for example,
Yeah.
we have the tax deduction, NI deduction, pension deduction. If the
Mm-hmm.
employer has given you a loan deduction, and
Mm-hmm.
student loan deduction, and any other form of deduction, if there is this uncommon deduction, absence
Yeah.
from work,
Mm-hmm.
then you question the employer. This absence from work was a duty to the state. Why have
Yeah.
you deducted from my salary for that period?
Mm.
Because there are instances where employers will deduct from your salary if, for example, you attended strike, you were on strike, and
Yes.
you participated as a member of a union. That's a
Yes.
different conversation. But we are looking at a duty to the
Okay.
state. And
Okay.
therefore, once you see that, you know that, hang on,
Mm-hmm.
this is a mistake. You draw
Mm-hmm.
the employer's attention.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you inform payroll department or HR that
Mm-hmm.
I've received my salary. The pay
Mm-hmm.
slip says that X has been deducted.
From
Can
my
you
way.
explain?
Mm-hmm.
They will explain it to you. If the
Mm-hmm.
explanation falls under Section
Mm-hmm.
13 of Employment Rights Act with respect to Section 43M, by
Mm-hmm.
you attending jury service, then
Mm-hmm.
you will let the employer know that that is not what the law says. If the
Okay.
employer is still not yielding to your polite request,
Mm-hmm.
then it becomes a matter of law. You can even inform the union about this if you are a member of a union, so that the
Mm-hmm.
union will deal with the matter. If it still doesn't work, then
Mm-hmm.
you inform the jury. In this
Service.
case, where the jury is there, you have to then inform the your lawyers. If you have a lawyer or if you are dealing with a union rep, you inform
Mm-hmm.
them that they have deducted salary from your wages or money from your wages, and that deductions fall under Section 13 of the Employment Right Act.
Okay, lawyers, ma'am. Okay, from your explanation, let's take it. Those people with zero contract. And I know with this zero contract, it's they run it in such a way that if you are not at work, you don't get paid. And that is what is stated on your contract. So if my contract is saying if I'm not at work, regardless of where I've been, if I'm not at work, I don't get paid. How do I take the employer on for attending a jury service whereby my money is being deducted, or I get deduction from my salary? Because that's what my contract says. Can I still take them on because I've attended a jury service?
Right. For those on 0 hour contract, they have a
Mm-hmm.
contract, but what it means is that it's a variable contract so that when there is job, you'll be invited to work. If there's no
Mm-hmm.
job, you wait till job becomes available. Let's
Oh,
assume that during the period you are invited to work,
work, yes.
you also go on jury service.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's a case of, let's say you started working, you're going to work for X number of hours for X number of days, and all those days has um, been covered or taken up by the jury service. If
Mm-hmm.
the employer were to pay you for those days because
Mm-hmm.
job was going to be available for you,
Mm-hmm.
but because of jury service you couldn't take up the job, then
Exactly.
at that point you are an employee, you were meant to be paid for that period. And on that basis,
Mm.
you can pick the conversation up with the
Mm.
employer. It's a technical area though, but you can pick the
Yes.
conversation up with the employer. And the union will come in. You can also draw the
Uh-huh.
attention of the jury service that
Okay.
you are on a 0 hour contract, but you have to do
Mm.
jury service. If I don't go
Mm.
to work, I will lose out on wages for those days. What do I do?
Exactly.
Then the viewing
Mm.
service can inform the employer on your behalf that this is
Mm.
a service to the state. And therefore,
Okay.
for those periods, if you were to work, that those days has been given up for this service. So payment ought to be made.
Mm.
It
This is
might not hurt
interesting.
the employer, but
Uh-huh. I see. So, as an employee, what you actually need, one, either to join a join a union, isn't it? Because some of these things they may be of help. Suppose you don't have any union rep, you don't join any union. All you know is just go do your work and you come back. Such cases may be a bit difficult for you in case you might not even been able to. Let's take it, you are not really someone elected to read and write. So all you just go do your work and go. If you are not at work, you don't get paid, and then you've been invited to attend to a jury service. How are you going to go through all these things whilst you know definitely you don't have a union to must can you just go straight away and join a union before they get you a rep to go and stand in for you? Or I know there are some people, a lot of people, they don't join any union, any workers union at all in their life. They don't even know what they do, and then when they find themselves in such problems, they get stuck. They don't know exactly what to do, what next to do. So when we have cases like this, I believe as an employee it's really good. Fine, we have so many unions online, and there are a lot of genuine ones. Just join. You don't even pay a lot of money. Some is maybe £10 a whole year, or £5. Just join, because there are a whole lot of cases that you might fall yourself, you might see yourself as a victim, and you wouldn't know where exactly to go. Whereas you can also have a lawyer, we understand that, but when the case demands that you have a union rep, it's easier and better than just going straight to a lawyer to fight your case for you. So yes, thank you very much, lawyer Asma, for all this explanation. I believe I may still come out with few questions, but
can I
before
point this out, please?
all right. What did
Yes.
you say?
Yeah, let me point something out. Well, we have to understand as viewers and listeners that, or members of the public, that
Mm-hmm,
you don't join a union
mm-hmm,
because you have a problem.
mm-hmm,
You join
mm-hmm,
the union
mm-hmm.
because you want to be part of the union.
Okay, okay,
So
okay.
if you are joining the union
Mm-hmm. It's not because you
because
have a
there is
problem.
issue and you
Because
want
you
them
want
to
to
intervene, they
part of
won't. They will
it.
the issue will continue. You've got to deal with the issue yourself because
Mm-hmm.
the union will tell you that you should have been a member of the union before the matter came up.
It's
So
true.
that is something we want to draw attention to so that when something comes up and you quickly join the union, that
It may
matter
give
will
you
not be resolved through the union.
It's true. It's just like you having an insurance. You buy insurance and against few things, but you don't wait till these things get missing or something before you do the insurance, and then you go and claim. So you have to do the insurance before, in case of any uncertainty, then you have it covered. That's how it works, isn't it? Okay, Layasma, thank you so much for this. Let me acknowledge all those who have come on board with us, and then let's move on. I'm going to open in the telephone lines. If you have any question at all, not necessarily based on this particular topic, you are welcome to ask. So Adai Mununkum, we say hello everyone. Adai, very special afternoon to you. I know a lot of people are watching football right now, but they are doing two things at the same time because legal matters. When it comes to legal matters, is really really important in our community as well. You are welcome once again to Community and the Law. Kwame Atajima, so I'm watching you from Crawley. Kwame Atta, greetings to all Crawley's people. Richard Nana Osei to Prof. Yes, Professor Asma is here. And then you say Asma Evelyn. You say I'm here too. Yes, we've seen that you are also here. Ejiwa and Ajimai. Good afternoon, everyone. And Ejiwa, we respond to your greetings. And Anita Jepoma Jampon Manye, you look nice in the. Oh, I look nice. Thank you. In the Christmas hat. Christmas come early for me. So I'm celebrating my Christmas already. Thank you very much. Alex Osei say I'm around now. Alex Osei, I can see you around. Now you have been breaching our rules for the quiz. You're supposed to represent once in a week, not three times in the week. That's what I got to understand. So, Alex, today I'm not gonna allow you on board. I know you are not going to agree with me, but that is the rules for the quiz. Adai Mononko, can I get into trouble if I decide not to attend a jury service? That's a very good question. Lawyers man, let's answer him before I move on to the others. Adai Mononko is asking if it's possible to get into trouble, to be in trouble if you refuse a jury service. Can you hear me? Oh,
Hi now.
last, yes, can you hear me? I just asked a question asked by Adai Munumkum. He's asking, can you get into trouble or is it a problem if you refuse a jury service?
Yes,
Mhm.
that would be an offense to the state. That is more or less being that's misconduct, isn't it? The state
Okay.
has invited you to perform and you refuse. Um, that is a very serious offense.
Mhm. Without any reason, isn't it?
If you
And
have a
in
reason, obviously, and the reason can only be that you are not well.
well, so in case of this, and they taking it as a serious offense, would that go against me as a criminal offense, or how would this go against me that I've refused a state services? Sorry.
Remember, if the state invites you to attend jury service, it's also
Mhm.
a duty to the court to
Okay.
assist the court with the adjudication of the matter before it. So
Mhm.
if you fail to, then you are more or less in contempt of court. And contempt of court is a criminal offense.
Oh, wow. So, just let's hold on 1 minute there. So, lawyers, man, I've refused or I've decided not to attend to a jury service. Okay, now they've hold me on contempt that I have refused this assignment. I'm applying for probably any application at all to the Home Office, and whereby they write up, do you have any criminal offense? You just made mention that this is also what a criminal offense. So I have to write, I have a criminal offense, and it's what a refusal to jury services. Is that how it works?
I want to believe that nobody would ignore
Mhm.
a jury service. And therefore, this question possibly for those who have already,
Than
without
that.
knowing, have ignored. But
Mm-hmm.
then, let's be realistic. You are working, they say, come and work here for those 2 weeks instead of your normal place of work.
Mm-hmm.
That is not a serious thing to ask.
Okay.
You are not working, you are at home, and they say, come and help. That is not a serious. After all, your travel and feeding will be paid for.
Mm.
If you have to attend elsewhere and you will need accommodation, that is also covered for you. So I don't see why anybody will say, if I don't, what will happen?
Yeah,
And
but
if there's potential not to do it, then we are saying that please do. You now know
okay.
that you have to do it.
So
But
last
if
month, I know
for any reason it has happened and you
that.
are making application for immigration, you are making an immigration application.
Mm-hmm.
Have you, under suitability, have you committed any offense? There will
Mm-hmm.
be drop down menu for you to select from, and
Okay.
you would have also known whether you have actually gone through a process of
Mm-hmm.
being told that you've offended because you failed to, and whatever the nature of the offense is. So if at the time of the application nothing of a sort has happened, then you
Mm-hmm.
don't say anything. But if something has happened, you would have known, then you can declare it.
Okay, that's fine. Lawyers, if we say we'll drag this, I've got the most cases because based on just what you said, okay, now I live in address, but probably it's not really, I use that as a residence address, but I don't really live there. I know few people, let's be realistic here. And then you've gotten this letter to attend to a jury service. You've not been to address, but you use it as an official address for yourself. You've not been there for some time due to maybe one or two reasons. Well, you can't disclose it here. Now, before you got the letter, this jury service has even elapsed, it's gone already. Now, if you are not going to explain, call them, explain that, well, I had this, but I wasn't around, or probably I've traveled, or one thing can lead to the other. So I couldn't get hold of you on time. And I explained to them, would that still hold as being failed to attend to jury service? And that would go against me. No or yes?
Well, I think you have a reason as you have explained.
Mm-hmm.
Um, i- if, for example,
Mm-hmm.
you if, for example, you are not able to receive the letter of
Mm-hmm.
invitation because
Mm-hmm.
you've changed your address and
Mm-hmm.
there is redirection, then
Mm-hmm.
obviously what we are saying is that it wasn't your fault. But the advice
Okay.
is also that if you move, you have to redirect your
Of-
mails
Okay.
so that you can receive the mails from the other side, wherever you are now
Mm-hmm.
living. So if it's obvious that you didn't receive the invitation, sometimes, of course, they will write a couple of times to remind you. If it's genuine that you didn't receive the invitation because
Mm-hmm.
the letter did not get to you, then
Yeah.
you cannot say that it is your fault. We will not be
Okay.
able to hold that against you.
Of course. Of course. Anyway, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Adai, so I believe Adai Mununko, you've gotten your answer now. Nana Jumai said, please share, please share. Indeed, let's share this program because you could be one of the next person attending a jury service and you wouldn't know if your employer would deduct money from your wages or not. So getting this knowledge is really, really important. Nana Jumai is calling the roll call now. Jina. It do say, Tiliduma. Tilly, you are welcome on board. I believe today you are going to participate in the quiz. Say hello, lovely family. Hello, Sarah Pinzo. You are here. And Nana Jumai present, of course. Colin or Eben Osei, Ikuya Enima, and Nana Sapon. Good day, beautiful Manyanati and lawyer Asman. And about good day, good day, good day. You did very well yesterday. So I believe you are not coming on board today. All right, so let's move on, Margaret. Edu Mensah, you're all welcome on board. We are still on the community and the law. I'm going to open the phone lines in a minute, but before I do so, let me quickly take a commercial break and I'll be right back. My name is Manyeti.
This is our world. Here we are in our community. There are the laws, there are the regulations. We have BWF Solicitors. BWF Solicitors, experts in all aspects of the law, family law, civil litigation, all immigration and nationality issues, representation in court, marriage and divorce. We pride ourselves to give you excellent legal services and follow through till we get you the right result and decisions. That is our mutual satisfaction. We have a team of excellent qualified solicitors and support team to help you every step of the way. Our senior partner, with over 30 years of unbroken service to the community, is a member of the Family Law Panel and has advised several lawyers and institutions in many legal matters. He is qualified to practice both in the UK and in Ghana. Come to us. Speak to us. Let us represent you. We are your trusted community partners when it comes to the law. Locate us on the 4th floor of the Anna House, 214 to 218 High Road at Seven Sisters in North London, N15 4NP. Nearest train station, Victoria Line to Seven Sisters Station, exit number 2. We are open for all consultations from Monday to Friday, 9:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. Weekends by appointment only. Call us now on 0208 493 7340 or 077 127 61884. BWF Solicitors, your trusted legal partner.
You are welcome back to the community and the law, and your lovely, lovely host today, Manyanate. Just call me Manyati. I'm so excited. So today, we were talking. If in case you just joined us, we're talking about how your employer need not to deduct money from your wages because you've attended what a jury services. So yes, we had lawyer Asma on board talking to us few minutes ago, and we are still here. I'm going to open in the phone lines, and if you have any question at all that you want to ask, it could be based on the topic that we've discussed, but if not, you are still welcome to ask your question. And then after, if you want to participate in our Christmas draw quiz, you can also just say yes, I'm ready for these questions, and then I'll set a timer for you to answer as many questions as you can under 1 minute. In case I ask a question and you are not getting the answer right, don't wait time. Just tell me to pass or go, and then I'll ask the next question so that you can be able to answer as many as you can. This quiz that we have for this Christmas time, we know all the prizes. First prize draw is going to be a 2 weeks holiday in Ghana based on a 5-star hotel, eating and drinking and dancing free of bunto. And the second prize is £500 cash. £500 cash. Please, if you win these prizes, don't forget Magneti. And then also, we have the third prize to be £200 cash. We all witnessed last year or last 2 years, all those who won the prizes, they came on board, they share with us what they use their money for. So be part of the quiz and then answer as much as you can. In case you don't get any of these 3 prizes, don't worry, we have so many prizes as well that will be given away. So let's just come on and then participate with us. So I'm going to open the telephone lines, and 0208 123 1016 as usual. We've not changed the same numbers. Also 073 9920 8468. You can also leave a voice note. I'm going to play that for you. And on this number, voice note only on WhatsApp number 075 96620 154, and just call, phone in, and join the program. So, Lawyer Asma, I will be going on. I've got some few questions that I'll be asking you. Yesterday, we had a question on board, but I unfortunately I couldn't ask that question yesterday. I'm going to open. I have one question. Somebody was really calling me at dawn around 4 o'clock. I wonder why 4 o'clock, just to ask me legal question, and it's just so funny. Somebody said, when you made mention that when you get your salary, there will be a deduction. They will deduct maybe your your NI, your this, your that, your that. And then somebody just showed me what do you call it? A WhatsApp, a TikTok message about living in the UK, where you get approximately about 2,300 or 2,500 wages or salary, and the deduction, they've outlined the deduction, they take this and take at the end. At the end of the day, the person was left with just 40 pounds. And then he says, so if you continue with this kind of deduction, when are you even going to buy a bicycle tie? So funny, but it's reality. It's reality. So you wouldn't like to attend to a jury service just because it's a state services. You come back and then your employer has deducted money from your wages. That would not be a pleasant thing for you. I'm looking for the audio. 1 minute. And okay, before I do that, let me ask this question. He said, my question is, my stepson came to join us in the UK less than 6 months ago. However, we discovered that he has a beautiful daughter back home without our knowledge. I am EU citizen. Could we bring the child in as our granddaughter? That's the question. Lawyer Asma, what can we say to this mom?
Okay, so this lady is a EU citizen,
Yes.
right? And living in the UK, and the
That,
son, well, stepson, the son is in the UK with her.
mhm.
So the
Said the stepson
granddaughter,
came to visit them 6 months ago.
right? Okay, so the granddaughter is
Mhm,
abroad. The
mhm.
question is, can I bring my granddaughter to the
That's it.
UK? And the
Mhm.
answer is yes. Or it's a
Okay.
granddaughter.
Mm. Okay, so in that case, what will be the process? Because that's a follow-up question. What will be the process for her to bring the granddaughter to the UK?
Well, she has
She's
to prove that that is her granddaughter.
okay.
So the link to the son and
Mm,
the son to the daughter, so that we can
mhm.
establish from herself to the granddaughter
Okay.
the
All right.
relationship link.
Mhm. Okay, ma'am. So if you are listening to me, I think Lawyer Asma has explained what you need to do. You have to establish the relationship you have with this daughter, granddaughter of yours. And I believe that would be through what? A birth certificate, isn't it? So your son birth certificate, the details may contain your name, may have your name on it as the mom. So if you're on the birth certificate as the mom, obviously the bigger the granddaughter's certificate, the grandparents name will also be there as the grandparents. So if you have that one, it's first establishment to show that you have what you have a relationship, or you are the real grandparent for this child in question.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Now,
Mhm. Yes.
okay, so the birth certificate, let's say there are
Mhm.
two birth certificates. The
Okay.
father's birth, the grandson, the stepson's birth certificate,
Uh-huh.
and the granddaughter's birth certificate.
Certificates, yeah.
The stepson's birth certificate will establish
Mm.
maternity, which is
Okay.
linked to the EU citizen mother.
Okay.
Then the granddaughter's birth certificate will
Mm-hmm.
establish the link to the stepson of the EEA national, which is the granddaughter's father.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
As you know, the birth certificate
Mm-hmm.
shows parents, not grandparents.
Oh, okay.
It shows
The
parents.
Ghana one. I think the Ghana one, there are grandparents. Or am I
It
dreaming?
shows parents. It shows
Only
father,
parents.
mother, and informant. Whoever requested informed the births and deaths to register about the birth of the child.
Okay. Okay.
So
Okay.
we are looking at actually the father. The
Mm,
father's name will be there, establishing that this is the father. Then
that's
the
correct.
father's birth certificate, the mother's name will be there, establishing
Mm,
that he is the. But mind you, this is a stepson.
son. Oh
In
yes.
this case, in this case, the mother, the EA national's name will not be on the stepson's birth certificate, but
Oh,
rather the husband of the EA national, who
mm,
is the stepson's father.
father. Yes, yes.
So the
Okay.
father's name will be there, and
Mhm,
the marriage certificate will link the father to the stepmother.
mm.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's going to be a little bit complicated, but
And some,
simple.
well, it's as simple as that. The birth certificate. So the stepson's birth certificate and the
Hmm.
granddaughter's birth certificate.
Mm,
Simple. But
okay.
the EA national's name will not be on any of the birth certificate because she is not the biological mother of this stepson.
Oh, okay.
But his
Yeah.
father, the stepson's father's name will be there. So we have to then link the father to the stepmother, and that will be the marriage certificate.
Okay.
Some will go further to just add DNA to make it even clearer.
Oh, for the
Yes.
EU application as well. I thought the DNA normally it's needed when you are doing British citizen
So
application.
DNA is to establish relationship, and it doesn't matter what the relationship is to be used for. So if you want to
Okay.
make it easier for relationship to be established, DNA
Mm-hmm.
is always the way forward.
Right. Thank you, Lawyer Asma. Yeah, like I've got one voice note here. Viewers and listeners, I've opened the phone line. So if you want to call phone in to ask questions, you are welcome to do so. 0208 123 1016 or 073 9920 8468. Please just phone in to ask your questions. And I've got this voice note here. Let's play that and see if Lawyer Atma can give us an answer.
Yeah, good morning, Maninati. Good morning, lawyer. All right. The Nyamia Sine Juma Muboma on mine. Bacho, the ten say a branty beyond or ye dependent for a student, which means all student be annual dependent visa the buy. No be doing what jai. Tomojano, a Hushia or baby a British ni, our Bama Ghanaian descent. Guy is a Ghanaian. Nti ɔmo akɔyɛ customary marriage ɛwɔ Ghana ɔmo de aba a ɔmo de ba abɛyɛ application for 2.5 million na mbɛsɛ mbɛsɛ sɛ menim sɛ woyɛ British ni a na mbɛsɛ wohyɛ mu na na wara ne kɔ kurom na ma kɔ akɔyɛ aba but wei no sɛ na ɔyɛ dependent na ɔbaeɛ na ansa na wɔgyaa no na ɔwɔ leave no emu eni leave no nti mbɛsɛ sɛ ɛbɛyɛ yie ɔmo akɔyɛ customary marriage no wɔ Ghana a ɔmo ankɔ no a obi ayɛ de abrɛ ɔmo kyɛ na de abrɛ ɔmo no ɔmo yɛ application bɛfa mbɛsɛ.
Okay, Lawyer Asma. Mhm.
Perpetual audio and answer friend.
Audio. Voice
Um,
note.
oh yeah, voice note no, but it's over to me. Maintain a year, Papa.
Oh, okay. So what he's saying is a student came here with a wife, and the wife being the dependent on the student. So they've divorced, and dependent, worry someone or customary marriage, fee. We share British citizen ɛwɔ ha sei. So ɔmo kɔyɛ customer marry ɛwɔ fie. Nti obisa sɛ ɔmpɛ sɛ ɔmo mfa mbɛtom na yɛma no ɔno nso yɛma no asetena no. But obisa sɛ won't it be a problem because sɛ ɔno as a wife no ɛba depending on someone. And at the time that ɔmo yɛ awareɛ no, ɔfeel sɛ still even though they've divorced the first person no, ɔda so got still visa to be here. And then the person asking the question said he knows say umu ware sanka or say mu kofi na munko ware, but here is the case or more no my customer marriage. So when they put in the application, is it going to be acceptable?
Right. So I say you was answer or switch. He's not the person is not switching, so to speak.
Mm-hmm,
Person is not switching. The
mm-hmm,
moment you sever relationship with that the person you depend upon,
mm-hmm,
then
mm-hmm,
obviously you are saying that your right is taken away by that process of divorce. So
mm,
this person is divorced. This
mm-hmm.
person is no longer a dependent, and this
Okay.
person technically has no leave.
Mm-hmm.
They
So
have
that means
met somebody. and they have remarried,
Mm-hmm.
and this person is a British citizen.
Mm-hmm.
Two options.
Okay.
You make your application in the UK, but depending on your circumstance, it's
Mm-hmm.
always the case that they will have a reason not not to give.
Oh,
But if you made the application from abroad,
mm-hmm.
oftentimes it moves faster.
Okay.
Now, the point is this,
Mm-hmm.
that if the person living in the UK, let's say this is a young couple living in the UK, there's no child involved,
Mm-hmm.
there's no insurmountable obstacle in terms of sickness or things like that,
Mm-hmm.
then they will conclude that they are better off having the marriage in their home country rather than
Okay.
staying here to continue the marriage.
Okay.
Obviously, the fact that they have divorced doesn't mean that he cannot move on to have another relationship. So that is not a point to be entertained. Legally, he divorced, he's remarried, and the British depend the person, the wife is now in the UK, but it's not a matter of switching from dependent to um, dependent or dependent of a student to a dependent of a British citizen. It's a fresh application. They can do it here. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
they can. The person can also go to her home country and apply from there. So these are options the person will have to consider.
Mm. Anyway, from the way you are speaking, I'll recommend that the person come and see a lawyer because um, at the point, it all depends at the point of the marriage and the time of divorce and stuff like that. So, in order not to fall a victim by getting being refused, please go and see your lawyers, and I believe they can solve this problem for you in a very rightful way. We are still on the community and the law. Please, the numbers again to call is 0208 123 1016 or 0739920846. You can also leave a voice note on the WhatsApp number 075 the quiz is still here. Hey, so today, where are my people? Nobody want to participate in the quiz. That's okay. We have one question here, but before I ask that one, lawyers, ma'am, I have also have a situation where the person also came in here as a student. I have actually two came in here as a student, and unfortunately was not able to attend the school, but wasn't also smart enough to switch. So the visa has expired now. He's still here illegal and want to move on to the next step. Now he's asking for advice, want to embark on this skill worker route course. Sorry, skill worker route visa. And he's asking, must he go or can he do everything possible here, getting the employment before going back, or probably do everything before going back home to do the biometric and then obtain it and come back. He's wondering if it's going to be possible. And then, secondly, when it comes to the English aspect, when the British Council British Council back home writes to you to, or the Home Office writes to you to get your English right in case you've done the application and you are being refused because you didn't get your English right. Now they give you places or examples where you have to get your English certificate, obtain your English test, and then get the certificate to attach to the application. Okay, so one of them, they will tell you either the language set, the Pearson, of course, my place, which is Trinity College, and then I think Cambridge one. So these four places they ask you, and then of course the IELTS, the one they write at the British Council themselves. Okay, so these five places that they've given to you, if you are here and you obtain the one from the let's say the Trinity College or the Cambridge or the Pearson one or the language set, but then you are going back home to do the application, would there be any conflict that at the time you were writing the English, you were in the UK illegal. And that's where the question is. You were in the UK illegal because when you go to the school to write, they ask you of your passport or something, not because of your status, but just for identification sake purposes, and then you are allowed to write the exams. Now you've obtained the English certificate here, but you were illegal. Now, if you take it back home to do the application, I've not explored this area, so I wouldn't really know the answer. But then, if you do the application back home, would they accept it because you wrote it in the UK whilst you were illegal in the UK before you went back home to do the processing from there? Would that be accepted?
Right. The law is that you must have English language proficiency
That's correct.
to be able to do the application that you want to do.
Mm,
So the question would be, has the person met that provision of the law?
okay.
The law doesn't say that at a time, it doesn't specify where to take it from. Obviously, if you're in the UK, you do it in the UK. If you are abroad, you do it from abroad. But it
Okay.
doesn't tell you that at the time you are doing it, you must have leave or not.
Right.
So we want to know whether the person has satisfied the criterion.
Yeah,
And in
for
my
the
view, yes, they have the relevant evidence to show English
mhm.
language proficiency.
Mm. Okay, that's fine. It answers a lot of questions. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. This is from Adetayo Bisi Sade. Bimi Sade. If I pronounce your name wrong, please forgive me. Uh, Alex is saying now why. Alex, don't worry, you can come on, don't worry, okay. That's the rule. That's the rule I gave on. Okay, so let's get a day's question. He said, hello, my people. Please kindly help me with any what is this? I thought the person is going to ask a question. Oh my days. Okay, let's move to Adai Mununkum. Can I bring my grandson to visit me here? What are the requirements that me and my grandson will need, and what is the successful rate with it comes to visit visa? Adamununku, so you didn't actually state if you are a British citizen or a EU citizen. So I don't know, but Lawyer Asma is here to give us the answer. Lawyer Asma, this particular question, what do you think?
So this person is clear that it is a visit visa.
Mm,
If it is a visit visa, the visitor or the
mm-hmm,
applicant, in this case, that grandson,
mm,
must show that they will return to their home country.
mm-hmm,
And if they are not able to prove that they are returning to their home country or they will return to their home country, the
mm-hmm,
decision maker may conclude that they do not intend to return, and so they wouldn't allow them chance to enter the
mm,
UK in the first place. So we want to know what ties there are in the country in which the person is to go back. Is the person a student? If the person is a student, yes,
mm-hmm,
it's likely they will return to continue their education. So those are the things the person will have to consider
mm-hmm.
before making the visitor's application.
Okay, that's good then. Thank you very much. So the visitors application actually depend. Let's say most of the points depends on the visitor themselves, not the person inviting them, isn't it?
Yes, it depends on the visitor, not the sponsor.
Okay, right. So we have a caller on board. You are my first caller. Because of that, I'm going to give you a prize for that. Hello, where are you calling from? Let's hear from you.
Manye Alex ni so se memra maba.
Hey, Alex, when you have prepare. Okay,
Ya
Alex,
British
that's
akoto
fine.
mo jana. Manye mo aju ga ta sa mo aju so.
Yeah, Joseph.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Joseph. Alex. So, do you have a question for us?
The media na.
Alex is really keen to get the first prize,
The reason is mostly and I'm doing one same fine. And
It's
then
true.
you've opened the line for a while. No one is coming. So what
It's
should I do
true.
then?
It's true.
And
And
I'm eager to come on. I'm
I'm
ready.
surprised. I'm surprised no one is really calling for the prizes. And the questions we have for this week, in fact, they are really, really, really simple, simple, simple questions that you can even get more than, 10 in 1 minute. So if my
Okay.
producer is there, I'm going to set the time now. And
Oh,
um my producer, if you are there. So Alex, get ready. I'm going to your clock starts now. The two countries that have a lion as their symbol, they play each other in the World Cup. Which countries are they?
Senegal and England.
What application did EU citizen have to make before 30th June?
UUSS. UUSS.
What do I need to see a lawyer at BWF Solicitors on a weekend?
Appointment basis.
Which three countries make up the United Kingdom?
England, Wales, and Scotland.
For how many years has BWF Solicitors been in existence?
16 years.
What part of North London can you find BWF Solicitors?
Fourth floor Anna House. 214-218 High Road, Seven Sisters.
What is the correct postcode for BWF Solicitors?
N154NP.
Which African countries until... Oh, your time is up. Your time is up. Adai. Sorry, Alex, your time is up.
Enduya, mimi just screen to Enduya, ma.
It's 00 on the screen now, darling.
My screen was 004.
Hey, Alex.
Let me break that, you know.
Oh, Alex. The screen, I just saw the time being 000. So you've done well though, and you
Thank
you
you.
were just wasting time on one particular answer.
Exactly.
You should have just mentioned, he said which part of North London. So all the addresses the mentioning just taking a
Oh,
whole lot
okay.
of time. So Alex, thank you very much. You've done well. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You've got 7 questions correct, which is really good. So we have the last week. Try as much as possible if you can. Okay.
Then which is 23rd, right?
Yes, the next week. Next week.
I'm coming on next week and
Next
the
week,
following week as well.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday.
I'm coming every day. Now,
All right, thank you very much.
Mami, yeah, no, because
No
England will
problem.
do us, so why?
No problem. No problem.
For you
Okay.
to be competitive, why?
Okay, that's good. Thank you very
All
much,
right.
Mr.
You're welcome.
Alex.
Bye bye.
Alex, thank you. Yes, the viewers and listeners, we are still here on community and the law. You can also call us on 0208 123 1016 or 073 Just call and ask questions. It could be anything that we did today or not today. And also, if you want to participate in the quiz, go ahead and do so. I'm still waiting. So, Loyasma, as we are waiting for the callers to come in, let's talk about I was still talking about what do we call the English language. Thank you for that explanation. So you really, once the eligibility is saying you must obtain an English language at point 10, it doesn't really matter whether you were illegal in UK to have written it or not. Once you have it, you have it. So that's a very beautiful and a very, in fact, it's going to go for a lot of people. They keep wondering. We've not explored that particular aspect yet. So I will not be in the good position to, but today that you've explained it a bit further, it says it's all for us, and that's a good thing. So let's move on. I've got another question here. It's saying it's still about this divorce and the dependent divorce thing. Okay, this question is also saying she is also a dependent on a student, and now she is switching because they, as soon as they came, something happened. They said no more in good terms. So she want to switch and break out from the main applicant. Now the main applicant too didn't attend the school. So I think they've been given a few day, I mean number of months or something. The home office has written to them to return back to their country or to get a sponsor as soon as possible. But the lady has got a sponsor and he's saying she want to break out from the husband. So she want to do it alone, not to include the husband. And I got a bit confused. Lawyers, is it doable? Can she do hers without including the name of the husband? Because obviously when you take it to the home office, they are the two details, they have them together in the home office. So how is she going to break out from the husband without including his details into her application? Is it possible, Uncle Lawyer Asma?
Right. So what it is simple.
Mm-hmm.
The main applicant is making application
Mm-hmm.
with a view to switch from student dependent to skilled worker.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the person on the application form will have to disclose family details, including partner and so on and so forth.
Yes.
There are two options. This person can apply as a sole applicant or can
Mm-hmm.
apply with a dependent on the same form. If the
Okay.
person does not include the dependent as one of the applicants, even though the
Mm-hmm.
dependent details will be on the form, the application will be a single application for the applicant. So the fact that the person is making application is not automatic that Home
Mm-hmm.
Office will give leave to the dependent, even if the dependent was not included as a second applicant on the same form.
Oh, okay. So in that case, must the dependent also do his or her own application?
If after the main applicant has received his or her leave and
Mm-hmm.
the dependent makes an application,
Mm-hmm.
the person will indicate the main applicant's leave details and COS details and so on and so forth
Mm-hmm.
to make the application later. But if they are doing the application together, then the main applicant will include the dependent's details on the same form.
Oh, I see. So, okay, Lawyer Asma. Now, let's look at this. Let's look at it this way. In this case, is the dependent who is doing the application on her own, not the main applicant. Okay, so the dependent has been able to secure another sponsor because, I mean, she did that on her own, not including the husband. Now, the home office has written to the husband. They've given him a number of days. If he can't secure another sponsor, then he should pack and then go home. Now, he's got about 2 or 3 days to go to the deadline. And the wife, who supposedly divorced, not I mean, broke away from him, has got hers, doesn't want to help this main applicant. After the deadline, and he doesn't go, won't the dependent application still covers him? No.
Okay, so now this is the position.
Mm-hmm.
This individual we are referring to
Mm-hmm.
is currently a student dependent.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
That's what you said, isn't it?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So this person is a student dependent.
Mm-hmm.
The student is the one who is in this precarious circumstance where the leave
Mm-hmm.
is to be cancelled because he or she did not keep to the leave conditions of being in school.
Mm-hmm.
Because the dependent is linked to the student,
Mm-hmm.
dependent's leave is linked to the student's leave.
Yes.
Once the student's leave is terminated, the
Mm-hmm.
dependent has no leg to stand on.
Okay.
That is one point. The
Okay.
second point is that this student has 3 days for the
Mm-hmm.
leave to be converted to
Yes.
something else,
Exactly.
either to switch to this or to regularize, continue as a student, or to
Mm-hmm.
leave entirely.
Okay.
If the student is able to do that,
Mm-hmm.
he will do so with a dependent. Here is the
Okay.
case: the student is not able to do that, and each of them is trying their luck. So we
Yes.
are referring to this dependent.
Mm-hmm.
This dependent called A.
Mm-hmm.
A is now seeking to switch because she's also got 3 days technically.
No, she has been able to switch hers without adding the student
Oh, she's
because
already switched and gotten
yes,
a skilled worker
mhm,
leave.
exactly.
Yes. So, and what's her problem? What's the situation?
Because they've broken up. They don't
Yeah.
want to
So is
be
she
together.
worried that is she
Hmm.
worried that the student, the main student, the one she depended on, is not on her leave at the moment?
No,
So what is her issue?
a little bit personal. They don't. She
All
doesn't
right.
want to do it with the husband
Yeah,
anymore.
but
She
she's
wants.
already applied. Has she not applied already?
She has applied,
And it
so
has been granted.
she didn't include the name, anything of the
My
husband.
question is, has it been granted?
Yes, she has.
Yeah, so she's now switched from student dependent to a skilled worker.
Exactly. Hmm.
Well, I don't see why she's still worried. Because at the end of the day, she's gotten what she wanted. But
No,
if she's
she's
asked,
she is not worried. I'm talking in terms of the students who
right,
now have
so
to
the
go.
student
Who,
wants to know what he can do or she can do.
exactly. Mm-hmm,
If this skilled worker, converter, quote unquote,
mm-hmm,
is able to give power to this student to
mm-hmm,
also convert his to become a dependent of this skilled worker, it's
mm-hmm.
also fine. Within the 3 days that he's gone, he can do
Yeah.
that. Or it
Mm-hmm,
takes about 30 minutes to make an application. And
mm-hmm,
once the application is gone, he switched before the visa expired.
mm-hmm.
So that's possible. But
Okay.
because the main person, the skilled worker migrant, in this case, the old dependent, who is now the main skilled worker applicant, is not
Mm-hmm.
willing to help the old person in terms
Uh,
of the source, the
yeah.
student, then the
Mm-hmm.
student will also have to go through the process of getting a sponsor so that he can also switch.
Hey, this is serious. But don't they have record at the home office that they are married couple and they all that is where
Yeah,
I
I agree with you, but the point is, Home Office does not automatically offer
okay,
leave to people.
right.
What shows
You have
that this person is no longer interested and wants to go back home?
that's
So it
correct.
is not for the Secretary of State to say, your dependent is now switched, so you too, automatically you are given. No, they have to make an application.
All right.
And that is
Okay.
why when the skilled worker, the
Mm,
now skilled worker was making her application, she should have
mm.
included the student that she depended upon for her
Okay.
survival, quote unquote. But she
Right.
didn't do that. And she
Mhm,
now wants to do that. It wouldn't be the same application with a
mhm,
dependent, but it will
mm.
be a new application for the dependent. And the
Okay.
dependent will rely on this person's leave
Mm,
as a skilled worker and also rely on the COS to make the application. But if this person is not willing to help or to support because the relationship is broken down,
of
then
course.
the student has maybe 3 days or 2 days to find a
Yes.
sponsor and to switch.
Hey, this this is going to be a miracle. Anyway, that's good because it's a big issue. We are trying to resolve things, and our people they want to have their cake and still eat it, but this is what it is. So yes, the numbers again to call 0208123116 or 07399208468. There's a question. Okay, say what is the oh my producer, can you can you bold it a little bit for me, please? I say what's the outcome of the case regarding EU citizens with pre-settled status who are supposed to apply again for their settled status? Like Asma, there's a question on board for us. I think your voice is gone.
Is the person referring to a court case? It's
Well,
a,
that's how the
yeah, a
question came.
case of pre-settled status who are supposed to apply
Mm-hmm.
for settled status. I'm not sure whether the person is referring to Zambrano cases.
Mm. Okay.
Yeah, but if it is Zambrano cases, then
Mm-hmm.
the case with Zambrano is that if the person has two and a half and the
Mm-hmm.
immigration rules appendix FM and they
Mm-hmm.
want to fast track it under
Mm-hmm.
Zambrano for settled status, what
Mm.
the law now says is that because they already have leave to remain and to take care of the British child, they
Mm.
cannot fast track it for the same reason to be here to take care of the child. But the
Okay.
reason for Zambrano is to be able to have leave to take care of the child so that you are not driven away or
Mm.
removed from the UK. You are not going to be removed from the UK because you have two and a half leave, and
Yes.
therefore you can take care of the child. So the
Mm.
position with the Secretary of State is that if you have two and a half, then there's no way to fast track it. Otherwise, it is not fair, I think, for those who are still waiting on their two and a half. But that
Mm.
is the Zambrano principle. So if you made an application and as Zambrano you have two and a half, more often they reject it or they refuse it because you have leave already.
Mm.
Now, so that's that bit. But if you have pre-settled status
Mm-hmm.
and you have lived in the UK for 5 years,
Right.
either into the pre-settled status period or
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the pre-settled status period, then you qualify for settled status. Now, into the period is simply that somebody at the time of pre-settled application had spent, let's say, 3 years in the UK.
Okay.
And because of that, they had not spent 5 years. So they'll be given pre-settled. Having been granted pre-settled, you've spent 2 more years in the UK, making 5 years lawful residence.
Mm.
However, your pre-settled leave has still got 3 years to go.
Mm.
You have two options: either to wait for 3 more years so that you'll be about 8 years in the UK, or
Okay.
you quickly switch because you've now had 5 years continuous residence in the UK,
Okay.
and you can switch to pre-settled. So that is as far as I can explain on this question or this point. The
Mm.
questioner wasn't clear whether there is another case law or there's another pending case, but this is what it is.
Okay, that's beautiful. I think you've explained in both ways, so the person should know exactly what you meant. Now, I've got this question also on my WhatsApp. Is he's asking, please, I have a church and I want to invite. So I want to employ is it the word I can't see. There is a word I can't see what it means, but to get people from back home to come and support in the church. What documents do I need to apply as a sponsor to be able to get them to my church? That's the question. What
So this
documents?
person, just like any other employer, must apply for
Mm-hmm.
sponsorship license to be able to recruit from abroad for
Mm-hmm.
people to come in as ministers of religion, so to speak.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And the process applies across board. So they have to show what they are doing, the size
Mm-hmm.
of the church,
Mm-hmm.
the processes, whether they've complied with all the processes required. If they have registered as a charity, their charity commission, charity license number, they've registered with the charity commission, they've
Mm-hmm.
complied with all the processes, the trustees are intact, all the paperwork is okay, then they follow through and make an application. But again, just like
Mm-hmm.
any other sponsorship license application, it is important that
Mm-hmm.
they do not gamble by doing it themselves.
So they need to see a lawyer for that. Okay, because it's asking. So when you say comply with all the processes, what compliance are you talking about? What do they need to show that they've complied with all the processes? But I think if you are listening to us, it's best if you go and then see the lawyers, book an appointment with them. They'll be able to explain into details what exactly you need to do from beginning to the end to be able to get the application to a very successful level. So, Pastor, if you're a pastor, if you're a church elder, and you send the message to me, please, my advice and recommendation is just book an appointment, go and see BWF Solicitors anytime. Phone them. You can have a telephone conversation, you can have a Zoom conversation or Skype conversation, you can have a video conversation or consultation. Just phone them, book an appointment, and then they will take you through all these steps. And even if you are not up to set, they can show you how to get all your documents in order before they do the application. It's easy peasy for them. So take this advantage, and then just someone will say "tuhu anamo," and that's how it is. We are still here. Oh my days. We have telephone numbers again to call: 0208 123 1016, 073 8468. Sorry. There is this football going on, so it looks like people are divided either community and the law or the football match. But then it's all good. It's all good. Lawyers, ma'am, we are here. I'm going to ask my last question probably, and then we come to a close. But let's go back to this today's topic, for instance, and not today's, actually the adoption one, because I had this question. Now I want to go and adopt a child. From back home. I know the eligibility or the requirement is asking me to be a British citizen. Well, I get that one. To also residence in the UK, I get that one. Now I know there are few things that these are just the basic and the compulsory aspect of it to be able to even embark on that journey. So from these two things that is being explained here, I know you should be working as well. You should have a place of abode. So suppose you're adopting a child, it shouldn't be you are living in a single room. You should have, accommodation. You should be able to meet the accommodation requirement, and maybe financial, that you are working. And apart from these few things that I have mentioned, lawyers, what would be the other things, or probably the hidden aspects or hidden few things that is not just on board, but I need to be able to meet before I can embark on this adoption journey.
All right. So we have to remember that adoption itself is not under immigration rules.
Okay.
It follows adoption legislations or protocols.
Mm-hmm.
You want to become a parent first before you can consider bringing your child to live with you in the UK.
Okay.
And we have pointed out that it follows a proper process because there are two countries involved here: the
Right.
country of nationality of the child and the country of nationality of the proposed adopted parent. In
Mm.
this case, the conversation is that there is what we call the Hague Convention for adoption, and you have to follow. So you start the process from the UK. If the person is resident in the UK, you go through the Hague processes, convention processes. You do all the paperwork. There will be interviews involved. And once you've done the paperwork required here, you move to the country where the child is resident to comply with the national um, laws with respect to adopting that child from there. So I would say that you begin from where you are and end at where the child is. And both must ensure that the processes are thoroughly followed through because remember, it's an adoption and you do not want to have a child that is not biologically yours without any trail of paperwork or getting it right. If you don't get it right, and the case, for example, goes to court that you are bringing a child from abroad to live with you in the UK, then if you are not careful, it can also be taken into abduction of a child issue. So you start well. I've already suggested that people should actually see a lawyer when they are seeking to adopt. More often than not, people just go to the country where the child is resident and go through simple process and get something to show that yes, this person has adopted. But proper adoption paperwork should have a trail up to the point where the court has actually finalized the order. That is why in our nugget, we look at when the adoption process started and even when it ended. So once you become a parent of that child by way of adoption, you look at how do I bring my child to the UK, and that will fall under the relevant provisions of bringing your child to live with you. And at this stage, it doesn't really matter whether you are an adopted parent or biological parent. You now have a parental responsibility to take care of that child, and therefore you want the child to live with you where you are living. What do I need to apply for the adoption or to start the adoption process? We've already explained that. Once that is done, you come to the immigration side where you have to show that there is adequate accommodation, maintenance, and what have you, just like anybody else making application to bring their child.
Okay, okay, Lawyer Asma, that's well explained. Thank you very much. I've got one question here just popping. It said I live in the UK. I have a very good job. I earn a lot of money. Okay. And I want to support my brother to come and continue his education in the UK. Can I be his sponsor? Can I be his sponsor? In fact, that's the meaning I can deduce from what he said. Can I be his sponsor? I don't know his sponsor in terms of he making payment, school fees payment for him, or I don't know what he meant by that. But let's
Yeah,
take it
I
if
want to
that's the
believe that the person is asking whether they can pay for the fees and show that they
sure.
are the ones bearing the cost of this family member's education. The answer is
Exactly.
yes.
Mm,
In terms of sponsorship,
mhm.
well, see, the family member is paying for it, but you are not as, yes, you are a family member sponsor, but
Mhm.
truly the applicant is paying for this or the student is paying for this themselves through their family
Themselves.
member. If
Okay.
the family members cannot afford or they themselves cannot afford, so to speak,
Mm,
then they may get sponsorship from a third party, be it a government organization or an NGO or any other international body who will
mm.
say that the
Yeah.
cost of education is being covered by us.
Yes.
Now, this instance, the family member is saying that they are the ones going to pay for the fees. So once the person makes the application and he's asked to pay the deposit, the money is made available for the deposit. The person pays
Mm,
for it.
mhm,
If they want him to show how funding will be available, the family
mhm,
member will have to show evidence of funding. And of
mm,
course, the person will give it to the applicant or the student, the proposed student, and the student
mm.
will share with the school that this my family member is sponsoring me or is paying for my fees, so to speak. So there is funds
So,
available.
yeah, so in this case, Eloasma, is the family member going to show his statement and stuff to show that there's evidence of funds for this payment, or he has to transfer the money into the student's account to be able to show to the school?
So the student will be asked, how are you going to pay? And there will be
Yes.
options. If the student takes, um, even under sponsorship, we have family sponsorship um, and other third party sponsors.
That's a third
So let's
party. Okay.
say the parents are the ones paying for this. The student
Mm-hmm.
will take the right box to show that he's being sponsored or supported by parents, so
But
to
but
speak,
this
those family
one is
members.
the brother. He said he's the brother,
That's
not
what
the
I mean. So
parent.
the brother will provide evidence that he will be footing the bill for this education, especially the tuition fees and the
Mm,
maintenance fees, the maintenance funds. So if the
okay.
tuition fee is X amount
Mm-hmm.
and the maintenance, if you are living in London or outside London, X, Y amount, put
Mm-hmm.
together, the family member who is sponsoring or who proposes to sponsor should show that they have such funds available.
Okay. Hmm. I
It's
see.
not that it's not that they will have the money. They have to show that they have the funds available
Available.
to do
Okay.
that. Now, when the person is about to enter, they have to show that funds for the maintenance has been available for at least 28 days. And that is where the money ought to reflect in the person's own bank account.
Account. Okay.
But there's
Okay.
no rule that the school fees should be in your bank account.
All right. So that is where they get it mixed up. That the school fee should be in the student's account, but
If the
um,
student is the one paying themselves, then that is their evidence, isn't it? But if a
yeah,
family member is proposing to support, then they have
yeah.
to show that as well. So if, for example, the school asks you produce evidence of funding, you
Mm-hmm,
show if it's your bank, if it's your own funds, your bank statement.
mm-hmm,
If it is
mm-hmm,
your family members' funds, their bank
mm-hmm.
statement,
Oh, we have
showing
it.
that the funds is available and therefore
Mm,
tuition can be covered. So there will be no interruption. But when
mm,
you are going to apply for the visa, Home
mm-hmm.
Office will require you to have the funds for maintenance available in your own account for 28
Exactly.
days. And
Okay.
that is what you have to show in your own account.
Account.
But the school
Okay.
fees is with the school before they issue you the CAS, Certificate
Okay.
for Admission Study, they
Mm,
have to show that, or you have to show that the funds are available. So once you've gone through the process and satisfied them that funds are available, they will
mm-hmm.
issue the cards. Then you go to
Right.
the Home Office and apply for the visa, where you also have to show maintenance in your
Okay.
own bank account or from your own bank account.
That. Well, that's well explained. Thank you very much, Lawyer Asma, and viewers and listeners. Thank you also very much for being with us today from beginning to the end. All those who are able to come on board, we really do appreciate you a lot, and I believe you've shared the love. I call it share the love because this is education that we all know, we all need to work with, and then if you're able to extend this love to somebody, or someone also can get what is going on in the community, especially the main topic that we treated today about you being invited to a jury services, and then you come back and your employer is saying, oh, you've been absent for blah blah blah, so I'm not going to pay you. But this is it. We've learned today that your employer has no right to do that, and in case he does that, you can take him on either through the union, or maybe your worker, your lawyers as well. So that's a beautiful thing, and I believe you've learned a lot from today. This is where we are going to bring the curtains to a close. But before we do that, let me invite once again Lawyer Asma if he's got something for us to take it. Someone will say last words before we come to a complete close. Lawyer Asma, let me invite you again. Do you have anything for us at all before, or if you can summarize the whole thing for us before we sign off?
Right. Thank you very much, viewers and listeners. Thank you for your audience. Today we have looked at whether your employer can deduct money from your wage for attending jury service, and if that happens, what should you do? We have understood that jury service is a service to the state, and by law, under the relevant provisions of the um, Jury Act 1974, once you are invited, you have to respond. That is also to say that under the under the Employment Rights Act 1996, Section 43M gives you a right to attend that service because it is a mandatory or statutory duty. Once you are invited, you respond. However, the employer has a duty under Section 13 of the Employment Rights Act not to deduct wage from your wages because you've attended jury service and you've been absent from work for that period. If that happens, then Section 13 is in a way engaged, is breached by the employer, and you can take action with the employer in the first instance or with the employment tribunal in the second instance. It's also important that you can consult ACAS, so that ACAS can also intervene to ensure that the right things are done by the employer. the point we have made is that you cannot shake responsibility towards jury service because it's compulsory. If you do that, then you may be seen to have been in contempt of court invitation to attend jury service. When you also spend reasonably on travel and feeding, the jury service will reimburse that, the court will reimburse that. And that is not the duty of the employer. The duty of the employer is purely on the salary that you are going to lose for the period you'll be working. And that is why, so that people will not have a reason not to, will not have a reason to refuse jury service. Because if you are covered by the employer, then what's your reason not to attend? We believe that we've been able to discuss this, and therefore you have picked a couple of things from this. You now know that duty service is compulsory, but you also have a right not for wages to be deducted because you have attended jury service. If after this conversation you need extra help, please do not hesitate to contact BWF Solicitors, and we'll be able to assist you further. Thank you and have a wonderful weekend.
Well. All work and no play. You can continue. Indeed, everything that's got a start has an ending as well. So we started in a good faith. We've done what we can and we've come to a close. So I believe you've taken your bit from it and you can work with it. Go ahead, give BWF solicitors a call in any aspect of immigration, litigation, circumstances, family law, or even Ghanaian law. They are there to support and help you. This is the community and the law. Next week, same time, same place, you hear from us. Have a lovely weekend and enjoy the big match for today, England. Bye bye.
Yeah. Jesus, you're my everything, yeah. My everything is you, Lord. Yeah. Oh, 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 oh. Everybody say, yeah.